Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking our second look through my vintage Corgi paperbacks, and we'll be giving them a clean, we'll be giving them a polish, we'll be giving them a brush off, and we'll be repairing any sort of dodgy spines that we see along the way. Now this is sort of the second half of my collection, so these are the more like the late 1950s up to the late 1960s. So there's all manner of books, and a lot of which you've never seen before on either of my channels. So that's what we'll be having a look at today. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Okay, so it's rather funky Rex Gordon one here, and I can already see there's a little bit of the bottom of the spine needing to be glued down there a little bit. Oh, there's a pencil mark inside as well. So if I grab the next one, I shall lean the back cover against it like so. So we can take out that bit of pencil there. Which may have been an old bookshop price or something like that. There we are. It's got a few like bits of staining on the back there, which I hope will come off when we get to polish this one. There's another 30 inside there. So this one's obviously not been through the process. I think this is one that I've had for quite a while actually, now I come to think of it. There we are. And then I'm just going to need to pop a little bit of glue at the bottom of the spine there. I'm going to rub a tiny little bit of just a slither on the end there. Should be enough for this one. Just slide it in there into that corner. Just want to squish it in. Doesn't matter if a bit goes over or underneath, because it can just be wiped off Pritt stick. So pinch it together and push it down. There we are. So it's just glue that little piece down there, like so. Next was this one, Isaac Asimov, great author. Pebble in the Sky. And these really are nice books, particularly when they're in high grade, which sadly not a great deal of mine are, unfortunately. But that one's actually, if I just really look at the dirt on the top there, so it's going to really benefit from a good clean. Nowhere to Go, Donald Mackenzie, a fast-moving thriller. Got that black spine which so easily gets damaged. You can see this one's been worn, and that's not unusual with these sort of Corgi titles. They don't really survive in great condition, and whether that's because they're a bit smaller than most paperbacks of this period, which by now were in the standard A format, I don't know, but they just haven't seemed to survive that well compared to other publishers. Richard Matheson, great book here, Shores of Space, author of I Am Legend, as you know. This is 13 short stories in this one, just a little anthology. Seems quite nice condition. These that we've been looking at here are from 1958. Just look at the green spines were the sci-fi ones. They were sort of colour-coded, these Corgis. Here's a Western. It does actually say a Corgi Western. Kingdom of the Spur, Gene Markey. Got a little bit of pen on the back cover there, but I'm not going to be able to do anything about that, unfortunately. And some pen inside. Mr. B. Hayes. That's okay. Day of Infamy. This is the attack on Pearl Harbor. Walter Lord. Yeah, he wrote the one A Night to Remember, which I'm not sure, I might have that one. That was the Titanic Disaster, and that was published by Corgi. I'm not sure if I've got it. I may have had it and given it to a friend of mine who collects Titanic stuff, so I may have had it and got rid of it. Turned over a corner there. Okay, that's all right. This one's a little bit more warm, but it's a crime title. The Third Book of Crimecraft. We saw the second one on the last episode. There they are. I remember getting these in a little job lot about a year ago, and they're not in the greatest of conditions, so they have already sort of been through the process, but it's not going to hurt to give them another little polish. I seem to remember having this one for quite a while. It's the Arthur C Clarke Expedition Earth. Very nice bit of classic science fiction, that, isn't it? 60 years old, these now. Slightly more, in fact. This one, let's come from Richard Booth, who I believe is in Hay on Wye. It's nice. This one's actually in excellent condition. Mutiny at the Red Fort. The Indian Mutiny, looks like it's got a almost unbroken spine there. So I can't complain with that one at all. There we are. 1959 now. I notice it said this edition is slightly abridged. For a really nice one too, quite a tatty one. Let's move them there. So Silent Victory. Now this one's got the top of the spine has come away, and it's been quite badly folded over into two. Looks like by the photo insert. Yeah, so this one's holding itself together rather delicately. So there's not going to be a great deal I can do on this. It's also got some pencil inside, so this one's obviously been through the wars. Can't really remember where I got this, but it may have been one that I've had historically for quite a few years. So there's a bit of touching up to do here, a bit of gluing, but that really is sort of all I can do on this one. It's so delicate to begin with that there's not a massive amount we can do with it. So I'm just going to do the top of the spine first of all. There we are. There's not really any more I can do to the top, except obviously give it a brush off. The bottom, however, once again, that needs gluing just in there. So get a tiny bit for the right hand side. And put the rest of this under here. There we are. Very delicate, but it's going to stop it getting rubbed, and then I just need a tiny slither more just to slide under this end, and hopefully it'll stop the book getting caught and losing the bottom of the spine there, because it is all there. It's just been cut in two almost, hasn't it? But it is, at best an absolute dog, and it is one step away from the bin. So, but it is what it is. I'm sure I'll come across another one at some point, and then that one can go to somebody else. High Vacuum. Another sort of sci-fi one, but very nice condition, this one, so I was quite lucky to get this. 1959. Yeah, it's a really nice condition one, that. Look at that. It's been read at least once, hasn't it? You know, so quite nice, that. This one's very nice. This was a Hammer film, and it's, boy oh boy, it's not what you might expect, and it's quite bleak in actual fact. But if you've never seen Yesterday's Enemy, it's a good old film, good little Hammer film. This one, not your traditional horror. It's a war one, but that one's I've had that for years because I collect Hammer film tie-ins. Pop Heartthrob, Tommy Steele, one of the ones from that sort of late 50s store with Elvis and Cliff. Tommy Steele was one of those. $1959. This one's from the Steve Hare collection. Steve used to be he's passed away now, but Steve used to be the editor of the Penguin Collectors Society, and I did buy a fair few of his books a few years back. Whip Masterton. This is a Western again. Shadow in the Wild. Quite beaten up, but still worth having. But yeah, this has seen better days. But that's okay. I don't mind. This is a lovely one, Louis L'Amour. I've read a few Louis L'Amours in the last few years, and he's excellent. Every single one I've really enjoyed. And I wouldn't say Western was my top genre, because it's definitely not. But these have been excellent. I'm glad I've dipped my toe in, and I can see why he's so collectible and collected, just because the quality of the writing is so good. Mickey Spillane, we'll see a few of these today. Once again, I got these a year or two ago, and great author. Don't mind Mickey Spillane. I'm going to put these in a couple of piles because I'm going to need to give them all a brush in a minute. Here's another one. My Gun is Quick. This one's okay. It doesn't need any repair work because it's been done. It's just going to need the brush and the polish. Here is the classic I Am Legend. Had this one a long time. Not the greatest of copies, and I think this is actually my second copy of this that I've had through my hands. Yes, and even this is a reissue from 1960, so it's not the first, but it's a real great novel, that one. Probably the most famous Mickey Spillane, I, the Jury. It was his first breakthrough novel, wasn't it? I've got this one in American hardback first as well. It's a classic book, but this was the first Corgi, 1960. Stranger in Gala. I'm just not sure what genre this one comes under. Not obvious, is it? Murder in the Outback. So it sort of looks a cross between a thriller and a western, doesn't it? So maybe someone could let me know on that. And the last one in this particular pile is Arthur C. Clarke again. Out of This World. The City and the Stars. That's one of his classics, wasn't it? City and the Stars. Spotted a little 90p there inside, or 90 something, so we'll get that out. There we are. That's lovely. So what I think we'll do, we'll just put these bits over here. We'll give all those books a brush off now. Then they'll be ready for the final polishing. That's a bit much. Let's split that into two. Some of these are most definitely worse than others. Yeah, that third one in was particularly bad. Quite a bit coming off the top there, which is always the worst area, isn't it? Is the top edge, because that's where they're on the shelf traditionally, and the dust in the room would just sort of settle on it historically. Where I've got my books stored on the whole is pretty, I wouldn't say it was a vacuum. It's not dust free, because you're always going to get something, but it's not a massively dusty area, so it's not an area where we live. I mean, a lot of them's just stored in like a converted loft, so it's not somewhere where anyone's living, you know. But even so, over a period of time, even in storage, these sorts of books are going to get some sort of age-related dust on them, and that's why doing these now is always a good thing. I have found using the shoe brush rather than the toothbrush has made a huge difference. I can clean books quicker, and it just seems to do a better job than what the toothbrush used to do. The toothbrush is good though for sort of smaller, accurate bits and pieces and hardbacks and what have you. A plume of dust came off there. Wow. Just shows, doesn't it? It was probably off I Am Legend, which is one I've had for a long time. Right, so that's the first of two stacks that have been gone through, glued and brushed. However, we've got about that many again in the more recent ones now, so let me just reset the camera. To beg, I am ashamed. Well, another one of those slightly borderline sleaze titles here, The Autobiography of a Prostitute. And there did seem to be a lot of autobiographies of prostitutes at this time, and I just think it was a publisher like Corgi's way to possibly get away with a little bit of light smut on their list by packaging it up as like an autobiography, you know. But I don't know, but that's my suspicion. Abandoned ship. Richard Newcomb. No one knew that the USS Indianapolis had sunk. No one except the desperate, panic-stricken survivors. Is that? Ah. (1961) now. So these have been sort of published and looked through in a chronological manner. We have sort of done them in date order, pretty much. Sci-fi one there, 1 in 300. Bit of a sorry old state, this one. Did She Fall? The Listening Walls. And see the spine's really, really worn on that one. But it will do for now. A little bit of a filler copy. The Fittest. The chilling story of a threat to civilization, so insidious, so incredible, that by the time it was recognized, it was almost too late. Well, another one sort of sci-fi with the green spine again. And I did always sort of try and pick these ones up when I came across them, but that wasn't that often, to be honest. Very nice one here. Space on My Hands, Frederick Brown. Really feels quite early, this, doesn't it, this particular one? Don't know why. This says Corgi edition 1953, so this is much, much earlier than the other ones we've been looking at. So I was just saying how I thought these are all in order, and this one obviously is not. It's much, much earlier. It did even the logo in that series. So this one somehow has got out of spot, but we won't worry about it. It's lovely to see. This is a bit more in situ. So Born Leader. Another one, JT McIntosh. Yeah, that one's actually really, really nice, that, but it's completely out of situ. Here's another Western, Bronco Apache. He was Maasai, Bronco Apache, the deadliest fighting man who ever lived. Classic, Forbidden Planet. Well, I know I can't do any more to this one because I spent an entire video repairing that one book, and boy oh boy, that was a job and a half. Here's the start of some of my later Corgis now. Another Mickey Spillane, The Deep. I'm not missing that many Mickey Spillanes, actually, of his early ones anyway. 1963, this one, the first Corgi of it. So we are now into the 60s. One Lonely Night. So because these Mickey Spillanes came my way fairly recently, within the last couple of years, I think they're all as good as I'm going to be able to get them, for now anyway. This one's looking a bit the worse for wear. You often find that with his books, when they do turn up, they're often hammered. It's because they get read and reread and reread. Me, Hood. And sadly, these are no different. They're all quite a bit worn. 63 again. Nice uniform covers on those. John Bullock. This is a look at MI5. The origin and history of the British counter-espionage service. And this one's got a little bit of the bottom of the spines come away. I've had this one for yonks. Yonks and yonks, years and years. So that's certainly never been ever cleaned. And it's got some price inside there, by the look of it. I need to be careful. I don't know if it's pen or pencil. That was pencil. Lovely. And I'm going to need to get a tiny bit of glue in the bottom of the spine there. It's just starting to come away by a touch. So I'm not going to need much. Just the proverbial slither. Just slide into that gap. There we are. I think that's going to be enough. Yeah, there we are. Lovely. Here's the almost the companion volume. I've done MI5, now here's the one on the CIA. This is actually the same, it's got a little bit of the bottom of the spine come away. Let's go through first of all. Yeah, no writing inside, just a tiny little bit down the bottom of the spine again, which we're going to put a slither of glue in. There we are. Another Mickey Spillane. The new Mike Hammer story, Girl Hunters. '63, these. One, The Flyer. Day of the Guns, featuring Tiger Man, Master Hero. Ray Bradbury, bit of a classic. Dandelion Wine. Very, very nice. I think I've got an American edition of this one as well. Not sure if this is the first British. It looks like it could be the first British paperback, 1965, that one. Another one, Bloody Surprise. Tiger Man one again. '66, that one. Fu Manchu, Sax Rohmer. Quite interesting that these had a little revival in the 60s, and it may have been down to the odd Hammer films, and there was another company that did 3 of them, didn't they, I think, with Christopher Lee in the role. This is quite a famous one, Tomboy, Hal Elson. A JD, famous novel of juvenile delinquency. This is by no means the first edition, it's just a later Corgi printing of this one. Sadly, I've not got the, is it the 50s one? Yeah, look, 1952, the first Corgi one. This one's dated 1970, but the first one in that format. Any edition of this, particularly the first, is quite sought after. Then we've got this very last one, which is still in with my vintage Corgis. It's another horror anthology, which I really like. It's Michael Parry, the first Corgi book of great Victorian horror stories. So something a little bit more recent to end on. 1976, that particular one. Good stuff. Right, so let's give these all a brush down now. So there's no more no more repairing to do, no more glue required. But they are going to all need a brush, and then we're going to need to give them a polish. So let's pop those over there for the time being. Get these into, is it 2 convenient piles, should we say? Let's see how we get on. Yeah, that's good. You could almost visibly see some of those getting lighter. Always have the toothbrush on standby because you never know. Right. It's always in this area here. That's the worst spot, or rather the spot that picks up the most dirt for whatever reason. Lovely. Right. So, the last step in the process then is for me to go and grab my polish and a brand new fresh duster and give these all a really good polish up. Okay then, so I've got a fresh duster there, ready for action. Got my Mr. Sheen. Spray a bit on. Dab that in a bit. So it's not being sprayed directly onto the book. And we'll give these the old cursory once over. I said some of these might have been polished before historically, some of them never. I think this is one of the ones that's never been done. Just realised I've got a very noisy chair. Yeah, you can actually see the dirt coming up off some of these, which is really good because they're all best part of 60 years old now, aren't they? Yeah, that yellow's come out really bright actually, compared to what it was. And you do find that with yellows and whites. I've everything, but most things do come up all right. So, in some of the more recent comments on the channel, they've been really, really excellent. And one viewer commented that they were cleaning their books whilst watching / listening to me clean my books, which I thought was quite funny. And I'm hoping that, you've picked up a few little tips. I mean, these haven't needed that much work, but I think if you watch my videos on a regular basis, I think you'll agree you get better and better at it as time goes on, and you get a bit more practice. And practice definitely does make perfect with these, You just get to a little bit better at doing it as time goes on. That's lovely. Get these looking a bit neater. They are really, really colourful. I'd love to see someone who's got a real, really, really big collection of Corgi books, what they look like on the shelf, because I reckon they must look pretty fantastic with their bright colours and that. Similar to how the vintage pans look. They're really, really fantastic when they're on the shelf. So if anyone has got a big collection of vintage Corgis, I really would love to see it. And to be particularly careful on this one. I mean, this is absolutely hammered, so I know there's not a lot I can do with that one. So I'm not going to try. But these other ones, like this, which is in beautiful, beautiful condition for its age, give that one a little bit more attention. Gorgeous. Yeah, quite a collectible little one this, the Yesterday's Enemy paperback. I think it's the only one I've ever come across, to be honest. I have had it for years. And I always remember the only reason I kept it was because it had Hammer on, and I actually owned the book before I'd seen the film, believe it or not. Not often on TV, to be honest, that one, but if you can catch it, it's worth it. Yeah, this was a bit of a beat on that one. That's all right. Still very nice indeed. So let's slide them over into the corner over there. Got the next pile to do here. So I'm going to flip them upside down so that they stay in relative order. We're back to that lovely Louis L'Amour. Yeah, I haven't got anything like as many as I'd like. I've not deliberately tried to track them all down in paperback form, vintage paperback form, because there's just so many of them. But when they come my way, I will definitely pick them up, because the ones that I've read four Louis L'Amours, and I know that's only scratching the surface, but every single one has been really, really good. It's made me want to go and read some more. They are quick reads as well, sort of done in an afternoon. More polish required. Look at the muck that's come off so far. Quite a bit. So we'll move over a little bit on our duster. But the thing is, the duster itself sort of gets like impregnated, and it soaks up so much of the polish that you just sort of then just need to keep it topped out. The spines on these corgis are always really, really delicate, and if they've been in the home of a smoker, often they can be yellowed and stained, and very, very tricky if they've been read a lot to clean up when they're in that state. Not impossible, just sort of tricky, That's an exception there. That's a very, very nice copy of that one. Yeah, really nice, that one. My polish has dried out again. wasn't too bad, so look quite nice and vibrant, that one. But you can see why I had to split this video into 2 parts, didn't you? That's so many to do. Couldn't have done them all. It would have been best part of 3 hours long, so best to split it into 2. Quite a bit coming off these. Makes me think they've never been done. That one has been done, of course, with planners. We'll leave that as is. Because it has got a very, very delicate cover. Right. Right then. These Mickey Spillanes shouldn't be too bad because they were fairly recent acquisitions. So I think they have already all been polished before, but just to be on the safe side, I'm running it over. Giving them the once over. Whereas some of these definitely have never been done. Like this one, for example. There's a little stain in the top there. Last little run of these now. The CIA. So, as per usual, if you have enjoyed these cleaning videos, do please hit the subscribe button. Channel's been going almost 6 months, I think now, so and we're almost at, I don't know, is it 800 subscribers, 700? I can't remember. But it's doing really well. But I'm just aiming to get to 1,000, and then I'll be happy. And I shall feel justified in putting the work in, cleaning all these books, although, to be honest, they look so nice on the shelf once they've been done. This is the sort of thing I would have done anyway. But it's nice to share the collection with you as well. So if you have enjoyed it, do please give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment if you like about something that you have thought of while you're watching it. If you have made it this far, well, thank you very much. There's lots more on the channel for you to dive into. I don't know how many videos we've done in total, but getting on a bit now. It must be over 30, I would think, at least. So there's a fair few hours of entertainment, if this is your thing, to look at in the back catalogue, as it were. There we are. So let's get them up there, like so. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed that video today, and I do hope to see you again next week with another video. Bye.